every evening. As sunlight fades from the surface of the ocean, billions of tiny animals begin one of the largest migrations on Earth. They do not cross continents or swim between oceans. Instead, they travel vertically, rising from darker water toward the surface under the protection of night. Before sunrise, many descend again, disappearing into the depths as daylight returns. Among them are krill, the tiny crustaceans that support some of the largest animals ever to exist. Following their movements is the blue whale, a creature so enormous that its daily hunting schedule can be controlled by prey small enough to rest on a human finger. To survive, the blue whale must understand an invisible clock hidden beneath the waves. It must know when the krill will rise, when they will sink, how deeply they will travel, and whether the energy gained from following them will be worth the cost. This is the krill clock, a shifting daily rhythm that forces the largest animal on Earth to reorganize its entire life around the movements of one of the smallest. The classic pattern begins with light near the surface. Sunlight supports the microscopic plants and other food that krill consume. But daylight also makes the upper ocean dangerous. Fish, seabirds, seals, and other visual predators can more easily detect prey in illuminated water. Many krill reduce this risk by remaining deeper during the day, where less light reaches them. As evening approaches, they may rise toward the surface to feed under the cover of darkness. Before daylight returns, they descend once again. This cycle is known as diel vertical migration, and across the world's oceans, countless marine organisms participate in some version of it. For a blue whale, this movement transforms the ocean into a feeding ground that changes by the hour. A swarm that was hundreds of meters below the surface during the afternoon may become much shallower after sunset. The whale cannot remain in one place and expect the prey to stay with it. It must adjust its diving behavior as the krill move. During daylight, a whale may perform repeated deep foraging dives, descending toward concentrated swarms hidden far below. At night, if the krill rise, the same whale may begin feeding closer to the surface. Its dives become shallower, and the time required to return for air becomes shorter. The animal is following not a visible road, but a daily movement pattern written into the behavior of its prey. Deep feeding is expensive. A blue whale must leave the surface, stop breathing, and use stored oxygen while swimming downward. It must locate the swarm, accelerate toward it, open its enormous mouth, engulf water and krill, filter the prey through its baleen, and then return to the surface. Every additional meter of depth increases travel time. The whale has less time available for feeding before it must breathe again. A dense krill swarm may justify the journey, but a scattered patch may not. The whale must constantly balance the oxygen spent reaching the prey against the energy it expects to gain. This creates a decision that changes throughout the day. A deep swarm may contain a large amount of food, but reaching it is costly. A shallow swarm is easier to attack, but it may be less concentrated or more difficult to trap. Blue whales do not simply dive whenever krill are detected. They appear to respond to the depth, density, thickness, and arrangement of the prey. The best opportunity is often a swarm that is both dense and relatively shallow. Such a patch allows the whale to perform multiple lunges while minimizing travel time and oxygen use. One successful dive can then deliver an enormous energetic reward. During a feeding lunge, the blue whale accelerates and opens its mouth into the swarm. Grooves along the underside of its throat stretch outward, allowing the mouth to fill with a tremendous volume of water. The whale slows as the water enters, closes its jaws, and presses the water out through its baleen. Thousands of krill remain trapped inside, but the action is physically demanding. Opening the mouth creates intense drag and removes much of the whale's speed. Before another lunge, the animal must accelerate again. The whale therefore cannot waste attacks on thin prey. Its size gives it access to an enormous mouthful, but only when enough krill are concentrated in the correct place. The depth of the swarm can also change the whale's hunting movement. Near the surface, a blue whale may approach from below and accelerate upward into the prey. The surface itself can act like a barrier, limiting the directions in which the krill can escape. The whale may roll, turn, or adjust its body to align the mouth with the densest part of the swarm. At greater depths, the attack may be more horizontal, and the whale may perform several lunges before beginning its ascent. Each feeding sequence is shaped by the physical position of the prey. For decades, much of this behavior was hidden from human observers. From a boat, researchers could see a whale breathe, arch its back, and disappear beneath the surface. What happened below remained largely unknown. Today, scientists can temporarily attach recording tags to whales. These instruments measure depth, speed, acceleration, body orientation, and sometimes sound or video. The resulting data can reconstruct the path of the whale underwater. Researchers can identify rapid accelerations, body rolls, and sudden decelerations associated with feeding lunges. At the same time, acoustic instruments can map krill swarms by sending sound into the water and measuring the returning echoes. By combining these measurements, scientists can compare the movements of the predator with the structure of its prey. The results reveal that a blue whale is not simply following krill blindly. It changes how deeply it dives, how often it lunges, and how long it remains at depth according to the feeding opportunity it encounters. When prey density is high, the whale may invest more time and effort. When the patch is poor, it may reduce feeding attempts or leave the area. The giant is continually evaluating an underwater landscape that humans cannot see. However, the krill clock does not operate with perfect regularity. Krill do not always remain deep during the day and shallow at night. Their movement can change with season, location, food availability, sea ice, water temperature, currents, moonlight, and the presence of predators. Some swarms remain deep through the night. Others appear near the surface during daylight. In certain environments, different layers of krill may move in opposite directions. The familiar pattern of rising at sunset and descending at dawn is real, but it is flexible. This flexibility is crucial because a blue whale that followed a rigid schedule would often arrive at the wrong depth. Instead, it must respond to local conditions. The whale may begin a night expecting shallow prey, only to discover that the krill have remained deep. It may perform exploratory dives, change direction, or abandon the area. In another location, a dense daytime swarm may gather unusually close to the surface, creating an opportunity too valuable to ignore. The blue whale's success depends on treating the krill clock not as a fixed timetable, but as a prediction that must constantly be tested. The movements of the krill may also influence when the whale rests, travels, and communicates. A blue whale has only a limited number of hours in which feeding is highly profitable. When dense prey becomes available, the animal may spend long periods repeatedly diving and lunging. When the prey disperses or moves into a less favorable position, the whale can reduce its feeding effort and travel toward another patch. Daily life becomes organized around windows of opportunity. Seasonal changes add another layer. During productive months, ocean currents and upwelling bring nutrients into sunlit water, supporting microscopic life and eventually enormous krill swarms. Blue whales may travel thousands of kilometers to reach these feeding regions. Once there, they must gain enough energy to support migration, reproduction, and long periods when feeding opportunities may be limited. Every decision about when and where to dive contributes to a much larger seasonal budget. A whale feeding efficiently can build thick energy reserves. A whale repeatedly diving toward poor prey may spend more energy than it gains. This is why the location of krill is not enough. The swarm must be accessible and concentrated. A deep patch might appear enormous on scientific instruments, yet still provide a poor return if the whale spends most of its breath traveling toward it. A shallower patch containing less total krill may be more profitable because the whale can reach it quickly and perform more lunges before resurfacing. At night, shallow prey can create a different challenge. The whale may be able to reach the krill easily, but the swarm can spread across a broader area near the surface. Dense daytime patches at depth may become thinner after rising. A shallow swarm is not automatically a good swarm. The whale still needs enough prey inside each mouthful to repay the cost of the attack. It may therefore continue searching even when krill are present all around it. This reveals a surprising truth about blue whale feeding. The whale's problem is not simply finding food. In productive waters, krill may be widespread. The true problem is finding food organized in the right way. Millions of individual krill scattered over a large area may be nearly useless to a blue whale. The animal cannot efficiently chase them one at a time. Those same krill gathered into a tall, dense column can become a feast for the whale. Prey concentration is almost as important as prey abundance. The krill themselves gather for many reasons. Swarming can provide protection, assist reproduction, and help individuals locate food. Yet the defensive power of the swarm creates the exact structure that a blue whale requires. One krill offers almost nothing. Millions moving together can support a body weighing more than 100 tons. The relationship is a paradox. By grouping for survival, the krill create a target valuable enough to attract the largest predator on the planet. The daily vertical migration of krill also connects the surface to deeper water. At night, they feed closer to the upper layers. During descent, they carry consumed material downward, helping move carbon and nutrients through the ocean. Blue whales enter this system as enormous consumers, redistributing nutrients through feeding, movement, and waste. Their pursuit of krill is therefore not an isolated predator-prey interaction. It is part of a much larger biological cycle linking sunlight, microscopic plants, tiny crustaceans, deep water, and giant mammals. Human activity is beginning to alter this clock. Ocean warming can change where krill live and how swarms form. Changes in sea ice can affect Antarctic krill habitat and food availability. Marine heat waves may disrupt productive feeding regions. Industrial fishing can target the same krill concentrations used by whales and other predators. Ship traffic adds noise and collision risk to areas where whales gather to feed. If the timing, depth, or density of krill changes, blue whales must adjust quickly. Their intelligence and behavioral flexibility give them some ability to respond. But their feeding system creates limits. A blue whale cannot easily replace krill with large fish, seals, or other prey. Its baleen, yaws, throat, and hunting behavior are specialized for engulfing dense concentrations of small animals. The whale can change when it dives and where it travels, but it cannot redesign its body when the ocean changes. Somewhere in the eastern Pacific, the sun begins to fall toward the horizon. Far below the surface, a swarm of krill responds to the fading light. Thousands of tiny bodies begin moving upward. Above them, a blue whale takes several breaths. Its lungs fill, its enormous back curves, and its tail pushes it into a dive. The whale does not see the sunset from beneath the water, but it experiences the transformation that follows. The prey is changing depth. A feeding opportunity is opening. The whale descends, listening and sensing the water around it. It reaches the swarm, turns, and accelerates. Its mouth opens. The throat expands, and an entire section of the moving cloud disappears inside. Minutes later, the whale rises and breathes again. As darkness deepens, the krill continue their journey toward the surface, and the whale adjusts its own path to follow them. Before dawn, the pattern may reverse. The krill begin sinking toward darker water. The blue whale's dives gradually deepen. What appeared to be a simple night of feeding becomes a continuous pursuit through a moving vertical world. Predator and prey rise and fall together, linked by light, hunger, oxygen, and risk. The largest animal on Earth does not control this schedule. It obeys it. Its movements are shaped by the hidden decisions of billions of tiny creatures. Each sunrise pushes the hunt toward the depths. Each sunset can bring it closer to the surface. Yet the clock is never perfectly predictable, and survival belongs to the whale capable of recognizing when the rhythm has changed. This is the secret behind the krill clock. It is not a clock with hands, numbers, or a precise alarm. It is a living cycle written into the water column. The blue whale reads it through depth, density, movement, and experience. And every day, across an ocean that appears empty from above, the world's greatest migration of tiny animals quietly determines where the greatest animal in history will go next.